Cheers and welcome my friends, I'm Horath Drak and this is going to be my tips and tutorial video on military and warfare in Imperator Rome. If you want to check out any of the other tutorial videos that I've done for Imperator, then click on the playlist link, it's in the description or at the end of the video. And now let's get to it. The thing that I had first to learn when I started playing Imperator is that you really need to use the reorganization button on your armies. It's that one over here which increases the reinforcement speed, so more people reach your armies from your manpower pool to bring them up to full strength again by 25%, and it also boosts their morale recovery. If they lose a battle, their morale goes down. It's that green bar over here, and it'll actually take quite a while until that goes back up to where it needs to be. So if you like just lost a big battle but you still have manpower, you want to send that army back into action as quickly as possible. So what you do if you've taken like a lot of losses over here, so for example this one, this army is down to 16,769, but there are 19 cohorts, so the full strength of this army would be 19,000 men. So what you do is you click on unit reorganization. It makes them move a lot slower. They can still be moved, although to give the command they have to be still. You'll pay 5 military power, and the maintenance cost of that army while they're reorganizing is doubled. So it can be quite expensive, but it's definitely worth it if you need to get quickly back into a fight. I do that a lot. I find myself doing that a lot, even on mercenaries, if I really need them back in the front line and there are no new mercenaries that I can recruit. Let's talk about the forced march ability. In European Universalis you have to reach admin tech level 10 to even unlock that. But in Imperator you already have it from the beginning on all of your armies, and you just have to think about how to use it. It doesn't cost any power points, which is weird. I actually would change it so that it costs maybe 1 military power point or maybe 5 like the reorganization skill, but it's just a balance issue. And I had some discussion with my viewers during the Sparta Let's Play if it actually makes your troops worse, fight worse or something, and that is definitely not the case. The thing that it does though, it does increase your army weight. So if you do this in low supply provinces, that might end up giving you quite a bit of attrition. Here we're not being attrition, these are heavy infantry units, so they already have an increased attrition weight of plus 50%, which means that that 10 cohort stack has the weight of 15 cohorts. If you push this, another 50% gets added, so this has the same weight as a 22.5 cohort strong stack of normal units, which is considerable. So if you do this in areas that are less civilized or have less supply strength, then that might be a difficult proposition. But it doesn't reduce their fighting strength. What it does is reduce their army morale recovery. So if they already have low morale, it is a risky proposition because they might just get wiped entirely because they have no morale to fight back. But as long as you remember to turn that off after every battle, using force march is quite safe. And I would actually even recommend it. If you need to win a battle, then that can make all the difference between arriving there in time and winning the battle or losing it, and then arriving with a smaller stack after the battle has already ended and then getting wiped with that stack as well. What you need to keep in mind though is that the army cannot move for you to activate force march. But let's say I was already moving towards there and I'm not already locked into my movement, then I can just you can see it's grayed out. I can just stop them real quick, turn on force march, and then start them moving again. Now you see they have a different animation with the shield on the back compared to what they normally do here. They just move with the shield, shield on the back. So there's some visual clues as well as to if there's force march activated or not. You can also see it on that red army symbol over here. And it's really an important tool in your toolkit as a military commander in Imperator. In Imperator Rome you can force your armies to retreat back to a safe position that you cannot select, but that will save your army. So if you're either in hostile territory that can be occupied by you, or if you're in a battle, you can click this button over here, or the full retreat, which will cause these guys to just run away into a probably high population province away from the front line. It will keep the army. This will get patched though to the point where a full retreat, which currently just costs 10 military power, with the next big patch this would change so that you also lose half the army strength. So we would lose 5,000 men in this. which prevents you using that a lot, but it can still be worth it. And they will lose 50% of their current strength. So if this army had already lost 5,000, pushing this would lose us another 2,500. At least that's how I understood it. It can still be worth it though. And you have to be on enemy territory. I can't click it over here because this army is actually in my own territory. But over here, if I press this, these guys go. You have no control while they're running away now. They have this in retreat symbol, and yeah, you can see they're running back to a high population area away from the front line. Once they're over here, you can control them again. For now, it's rather cheap to do this. With the next patch, it's going to change. You can do the same thing for ships. Although here it's actually kind of a stupid system because they will not automatically retreat into a harbor. They will still just run away to the next sea zone. I don't think it's really worth it on fleets, and I've actually lost a fleet due to the weird way this works on ships, because they were just basically playing ping pong with me back and forth and back and forth. Instead, I really should think this should be changed so that the fleet always just fully retreats into the next safe harbor. Maybe make you lose half the ships, that would still be fine. Sieges are a horrible thing for your manpower, because you not only have a 1% forced attrition per month on your troops as long as you are sieging, no matter the progress, but they can also go on for a long while, and manpower is a very scarce resource in Imperator Rome, considering that it is not just 10 years of your monthly manpower gain, but instead 25 years. So manpower is a lot more scarce and a lot more dear. So sieging things really, really hurts, and that's why you want to improve your siege level or your siegecraft level. So what you want to do is you want to bump this up over here, the siege engineering. Especially in the early part of the game, sieges will take forever because you have no siege engineering whatsoever. There are probably also lower level forts, but especially a level 2 fort. So having a fort and a capital in the same province, or just a normal level 2 fort, is horrible, because you have to put 10,000 men in there just to start sieging the thing, and then you have a forced attrition of 1% at all times on these 10,000 men every month. So a siege can really bleed you dry. So how do you improve your siege ability? What you want is inventions, like these over here, sapping. This will give us just a plain +1 siege engineers boost. Every 5 levels of a general will also give you +1 siege progress here, just like the siege engineers. But considering that like most generals won't even reach 10 in martial skill, this is incredibly valuable. Whenever you get an invention like this, so every time you reach another tech level, these get reshuffled. You really want to take these whenever they pop up and make sure that it's this type of thing, because there are also percentage improvements which do nothing for you if you have no base. So first you need a couple of these boosts before the percentage boosts that you can get from military traditions, like this one over here, for example, plus 10% siege ability. That's not all that helpful if you have no base to start from. So first you want to start stacking these inventions, and then sieges will become faster and faster, and not quite the harrowing experiences that will bleed you dry of manpower that you might have in an early game if you're not playing a huge country that doesn't even care about losing any manpower at all. Another tip that really helps you conserve your manpower is having a light infantry siege stack and backing it up with some heavy infantry stacks or higher quality troops. Because the good thing about heavy light infantry is that they only have 50% attrition weight. So this stack with 15 cohorts in it, if I mouse over this, it says weight with siege stack 7 instead of the 15 if it were just normal attrition weight. That will allow you to siege down fortresses even in areas that are very bad in terms of supply level. Like over here, these ones, if I have a siege stack that consists of heavy infantry, like these 10 cohorts, not 15 in here, these guys would take a lot of additional attrition in all these provinces where supply limit is a little bit scarcer, like these mountainous provinces as well. So having a stack like this with a decent general will allow you to siege down a lot of forts and not take as much attrition. And here's the little trick to prevent your opponent from building more troops, is to just put one single cohort into their province. And once that cohort is in the province itself, they no longer be able to get any progress on their troop building. So I am currently at war with Megalopolis over here, and they're trying to build a light infantry unit, but I've parked a group of archers in here. So I have to suffer the attrition, but I don't have the manpower to siege this fort in here down right now. I just don't have the men. I only have one army and I'm busy with other stuff. So I parked this unit of archers in here, and this completely takes them out of the game. I'm going to let the time pass. You can see it is going to be finished on the 11th of June, 4:56. If I let time advance, this just moves into the future forever. It never gets done as long as a unit stays inside the province. So by putting your unit onto enemy forts, even if it's not enough troops to get any siege progress, which it isn't, you're still going to stop them effectively from building an army. And once you got their army destroyed, they have no way to come back. Imperator Rome has a unit automation system. It's rudimentary, but it's still helpful if you're playing a big country like I am over here with Phrygia. I might just not be able to micromanage all my armies at the right time in the right way. So what you want to do is select the army and click on this. This gives the unit an objective, which will try to do on their own. Independent operations basically just reacts as if it were controlled by the AI. All armies under this will actually try to work together, so they'll try to overwhelm opponents by moving multiple armies into one battle if there's a battle going on nearby. So it's somewhat intelligent, but then again, it's often too defensive for my taste, where it just goes for sieging down single provinces of no strategic importance over engaging smaller opponent stacks. I would definitely like to see more of these automation things. I specifically want one that is just hunter-killer stack, and one that is just siege automation, where it tries to siege down as much as possible. You have to defend borders, so try to defend your territory, retake it. Not all that happy, because this also influences where they go. So if I tell them to do this, we'll quickly see them move somewhere else where they think they can do more good. Or at least I had that happen quite often. So I would kind of like more options for this, but in general, it's really good that this is in the game. Then you have fight rebels. This is only slave revolts, so they'll take those down. Reconnaissance, I'll just move around the borders and try if they can spot someone, and then keep in reserves. Just stay out of the way. You can do this for actually reserve units that you want to put into the battle later, and that you don't want to be picked off by an opponent. Yeah. Yay, you made it to the end of the video. By now you know the drill. Click the like button, subscribe, ring the bell, ring all the bells, ring your mother's bell, and thanks for watching.